like a G, let's play a little game. Got a couple different names, let's play, go get some money. Or we can play.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, The Truth. And so, here's how my life is shit and not yours. So, I went homeless, I went to jail, and I went to a mental hospital. And this is not a flex. This is just me sharing my story. This is just me sharing what the things that I went through. So, let's get started. Let's start from the very beginning. Now, I was living at my mom's house. I was around 19 years old. And what happened is that I ended up getting so intense on being able to create an identity that would be able to create the life that I want. Now, what happened is that based on not me doing research, based on just me using my infinite intelligence, the things that I know, it got me to be able to ask just so many freaking questions. I'm just constantly asking, what would this version of myself do? What would this version of myself do? And I just kept asking the question so much to the point where I wasn't taking no action. It was just all in my mind. And due to the thoughts creating feelings, it created so much pleasure with It created so much pleasure within myself that I decided to go, you know what? I don't need to take action. I just need to have it in my mind. And this is why I said subconsciously. This is not what I really wanted. What I really wanted was just to take action. And so what happened is that due to me be constantly asking that question, it created a feeling. And once it created that feeling, it got me to be able to start getting this inspiration that I need to move. I need to move into a state that no one in my family is at. I don't know, so I could be able to create a new type of lifestyle. And that's exactly what I did. I told my family I was gonna leave, but what happened is that I ended up not planning on what was going to happen. I did not plan on me moving to another state. And so I just said, I'm gonna leave. I had like $300 in my bank account. Sorry, like $1,000 in my bank account, and I decided I'm just gonna leave. I got an airplane ticket, and I paid for like a week or two at a camping site. And so just fast forward a little bit, I ended up going into, the camping site, stood there for 2 weeks. After I stood there for 2 weeks, I didn't even know what to do after. And so after me doing that, I literally became homeless. I became homeless, and I ended up, not being able to have a home. Now, we're going to get this real straight. We have to understand that it is my responsibility of not taking responsibility. I didn't take responsibility of planning on what I could have done to be able to properly move. Okay, because when I moved, I should have planned on what places I'm gonna stay. If I end up not getting a place, I could be able to go to a shelter. I could be able to do many different things. And so I didn't plan for that, but I did stay homeless. I didn't have a home. I was walking all alone, walking in the middle of the summer. It wasn't even the summer. It was just so freaking hot. And because it was in Texas. Okay, it was in Texas, and it was so hot, walking alone, being by myself, not being able to have a job at that moment at time. So I didn't have money. I was only using the money that I had. And so sooner or later, it was going to just be done and be gone. And so I ended up, saying I need to grind. And then I started being able to get a job, and then I got another job. And so that's exactly what got me to become homeless. And it really sucked. But I'm not gonna lie, by me being homeless, it created a lot of depression, it created a lot of feelings, or at least it cultivated into a place where it got me really bad, to the place where I did get 2 jobs, and then I did start being able to make some money, and then I ended up going into a house that I should have been in, you know, one of those real estate type of houses. I went up to it, something guided me to it. You could call it God, you could call it whatever. Guided me to it, and I ended up like turning the knob, and the door was open. So I ended up being in that house for like 3 weeks, like camping in that house while I was working those 2 jobs, and it ended up cultivating into $2,000. I ended up getting $2,000 to be able to start, to get to where I wanted to go, to become the version of myself that I wanted to become. And then after that, what happened was, due to me being in those circumstances, in that environment, it got me to go to jail. I went to jail, and that was one of the worst experiences, because I ended up, what got me to go to jail was someone was staring at me, and I told him, "Why are you staring at me?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Let's go outside." He didn't do that, and I swung at him. And I started, someone tackled me, and I said, "Bro, like," and I ended up, just going crazy, to the point where there was a person right next to me, and that was the coworker, and he wanted to stop so I don't get fired, but then I ended up tackling him, and we were fighting each other, and it was not the best. So what happened is that, they ended up calling the cops, and the cop was there, but I was already left. Like, they told me just leave. I left, and I was walking. The cops were coming to see what was happening. I literally went to them. I don't know why I did it, but I just went up to them, and I said, I'm the person that did this. And they said, "Okay, put your hands where I could see them." And I ended up, headbutting the officer, and we ended up going on the ground, and I was gonna end up like picking up his gun, doing whatever. I wasn't thinking logically, and so it was really bad. And so I ended up going to jail, and what was the most craziest and most craziest part is, when I was in jail, they put me in a chair because I was constantly screaming. There was like gangsters and all these different type of people, and I was like, "I'm gonna fuck you up, this, that, and you ain't not like this, you ain't like that." And I just kept on telling people, when the cops went to the they were gonna drop us off, I was telling all the the people in jail that, and so they ended up putting me in a chair, and I was like, "Get me out, get me out." That was one of the craziest parts. And then there was a guy right behind me. He was like, "Oh, you think you're all that? I'm gonna rape you, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that." It was crazy. Yeah, so that part was not the best. So after that, I fast forward, went to jail and stood there for almost a month, and then after that, I fast forward, I ended up going to a mental hospital. The mental hospital was not the best, not the great, and it was not good. It really disrupted a lot of different things. And so I want to be able to talk a little bit more about this. I'm getting better at storytelling, but I want you to understand that my life became shit for the last 7 years, and I could make it in a way where I'm taking responsibility, so you can go ahead and go like, "Oh, it's your fault, it's this and that." Yeah, but I experienced shit, okay? I experienced garbage. And it was really freaking bad, being all alone, being by myself, not having sex for such a very long time, and being able to not even have food on my plate. It was really bad, not having a roof over my head. I'm so grateful to God that I wasn't being able to get sick. but it was really bad, really suffering. And so we have to be able to be grateful for things, because a lot of us, you're sitting in your home, you have a roof over your head, people providing you for food, you have a job, you have all these different things, and you're living okay, you're living good. There's people out there that are suffering, that are in pain. And so being able to understand that will be able to really help you. And so I'm going to get better at the storytelling. If you want to know more about it, tell me, and then we can do a part 2. I might just do a part 2 because I want to even know more about the story, because I'm just saying it based on what I have on my conscious mind, but there's so much more into it. So besides that, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. And you know what? No. What did I learn? The main thing that I learned was that I need to be able to follow God, because God would never have directed me into that situation, but still would have fulfilled what I wanted. I wanted just to become a specific type of person, have a specific lifestyle, and I didn't have to be directed in that type of way. I was being directed by something, and we could talk about that, because if I'm not in control, there's something else being in control, and we gotta talk about that. But I should have just followed God. What's another thing that I learned? I learned that life is hard. It's suffering. It's pain. And we have to be able to do the right things and not care about pleasure so much, because life is hard. If you just constantly be in pleasure, you're going to go in a downfall, and life will hit you. Like, really hit you. So being able to understand that and just do the right thing without needing to go through the experiences that I went through, because I went through the worst experiences that a human being can experience. Tell me something else besides death that is worse than what I just talked about. You could say getting shot, because that's pain. But besides that, that's really, like, I experienced a lot of bad things. And so, being able to, be grateful for what you have is really good. So if you guys want to know more about it, just let me know. But besides that, thank you guys for watching. And I also have a one-on-one coaching. And so go in the comments if you guys are interested. Pretty much the coaching is just talking about how to be able to know yourself. I'm pretty much enlightened within. That's just really what it is. I've done so much things to be able to become enlightened. On the without, I'm learning how to be able to manifest and create. But either way, I have got to a point where I could really help someone. So besides that, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, because we're in the 100-day streak. So all right.